Hello, friends, and welcome to your practice. And maybe just starting off our practice today by thanking yourself or giving yourself a pat on the back for showing up and arriving to your mat, as that can often be one of the hardest things, especially when life gets challenging. And it had me reflecting on this idea to be unpolished, unedited, and naturally human in a world that often expects the opposite is one of the most courageous acts a person can do. And when we're not showing up in this curated, polished version of ourselves, it may have us second guessing or doubting or feeling like that we should be doing more or should be doing something different. And there's actually something deeply vulnerable about allowing ourselves to show up in this unpolished way. And then it doesn't mean careless, but it's just being human. And it's not to say that this polished version is bad per se. It's more so the upkeep of it that can start to become unrealistic and exhausting. And so there might be societal influences or pressures that kind of encourage or reinforce this idea to be the best version of yourself. And when we're not showing up in that way, we might have some internal conflict that can be really uncomfortable to sit with. And so we live in this world that has become hyperfixated on optimizing, which is great, right? Like, who wouldn't want to optimize their life and function optimally? I think we all do, right? We all want to improve and better ourselves, while at the same time being mindful of when we keep moving the goalpost further and further away, and how this can reinforce beliefs of, I'm lacking something or I'm still not good enough, and realizing that there's some disappointment or dissatisfaction and that I'm constantly chasing and chasing. And so our best version of ourselves changes on a moment-to-moment basis. It's never the same. And it's quite unfair to expect the same standards for ourselves at different stages or seasons of our life. And so I think, or I feel, that there are many ways to express self-love, but being human might just take the cake on that one. And so during our practice today, maybe start to inquire, when did being human become so intolerable? What happens when I allow myself to be completely imperfect? And just start to notice what dissipates and what becomes alive when you give yourself that freedom to just show up in whatever capacity and however you are. And also observing maybe what gets in the way of showing my messy side. So we'll take that loaded inquiry into our practice today, and not with a mind of judgment, but a mind of curiosity, to just know what's here and how you may act or respond differently. And so let's take a moment to just settle in, find our feet, maybe spread the toes wide and really root down through the soles of the feet. Maybe placing one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. And we'll just begin connecting with the breath. You're welcome to close your eyes down if that's comfortable. And we'll just take 3 deep rounds of breath. Inhaling deeply through the nose. And maybe an audible exhale out the mouth. Twice more. Inhale, feel the belly press against the hand as you breathe in. And then a softening as you exhale. Once more. Inhale, let yourself arrive and land in this space. And exhale, let it go. And you can release the arms down. Maybe the eyes gently blink open. And inhale, float the arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, just let them drop. We'll do that a few more times. So inhale, lifting the arms up overhead. And exhale, just let them drop. Good. So doing this with your own breath at your own pace. And just notice what it's like to let the arms fall, to be unmanaged, uncontrolled, and let gravity do the work. Maybe stimulating parts of the body as the arms and hands drop and maybe smack against the legs. Just waking up the body. And maybe noticing the relief that you might experience when you allow yourself to just let go. Once more. Inhale and exhale. Let it drop. Good. This time, let's inhale the arms up overhead. And then this time, we'll exhale, hinge at the hips, and just send it back. And then inhale, lift yourself up. And then exhale, maybe a sharp out the mouth as you just send it back. And doing this a few times with your breath, your cadence. Deeply bending the knees, sending the hips back as you send the energy and the breath behind you. Just allowing yourself to be free. Know that there's no right way of doing this. And just letting any sort of expectation go. Once more. And then we'll rise up and just take a moment of pause and observe the body. Maybe noticing any tingly vibration or sensation. I know my hands are buzzing. And so just noticing that energy. And then we'll move to the top of our mat, the top of our space, and plant the feet about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And on an inhale, begin to lift the arms up overhead as you lift the heels. So really reaching through the fingertips. And then on an exhale, let yourself slowly melt down. So slowly releasing the heels down and letting yourself just drip down, pouring everything out. Maybe taking a moment to bend into one knee a little bit more and then the other, just kind of pedaling out, feeling into the back of the legs. And then begin to put the weight into the left foot. And on an inhale, we're going to peel the right heel off the ground and slowly arriving in one leg mountain. So however you get there. And just taking a moment to breathe in here, belly to spine. And then on an exhale, we're going to make our way into Warrior 3, airplane. So slowly shifting the weight, extending the right leg back, arms reach back into Warrior 3. Wobbles and shakes, welcome. And then once more, inhaling back to one leg mountain. And then exhale, this slow transition into Warrior 3. Inhale deeply here. And then exhale, slowly release the back foot down and inhale yourself up to crescent lunge, sinking the hips down. Good. And we'll move through a little vinyasa here. So inhale, maybe find a lengthen that front leg. And then exhale, rotate open towards the left. So opening the arms up, reaching in opposite directions, or maybe even keeping a slight bend in the elbows. And we'll do this a few times with breath. So inhale, coming back through center, maybe finding some length here, and then exhale, sinking into the hips as you open up to the left in a twist. Twice more. Inhale here, and then exhale, release. Inhale. And exhale, we'll hold and stay. Good. And then making our way into exalted low lunge. So maybe left hand comes to the sacrum and the right hand can come back behind the head. Maybe making this dramatic. You know, my daughter has really brought out my theatrical side lately. Just breathe into the belly. And then exhale, slowly release the right hand down on the inside of the left foot and open up into a low lunge twist, extending left fingertips up towards the sky. And then exhale, release the hand to frame the foot and step back, downward facing dog. Maybe taking a moment to pedal out here. And then finding stillness, dropping both heels down towards the ground. And let's begin to slowly and mindfully walk the hands back towards the feet. So really placing one hand and then the other. And really feeling into the ground, feeling your hand press into the mat, the earth. And eventually meeting in a forward fold. And then begin to widen the feet a little bit wider and turn the toes out slightly, heels in, and we'll sink into Malasana squat. So sink the hips down, chest lifted, maybe fingertips stay on the ground, or you can bring the hands to heart center, pressing elbows into thighs, really creating some space in the hips. Breathing in here. And then exhale, release back down, turn the toes forward, coming into a forward fold. And then deepen in the knees as you slowly stack the spine, making your way all the way up to standing. And then we'll take a mindful walk to the top of our mat. So similarly to what we just did with the hands, maybe we just firmly plant one foot and then the other. So one step at a time. And often what we need to do when life feels really heavy and chaotic. And maybe just noticing how the body responds to slowness and how the mind responds to slowness. So when you arrive at the top of the mat, we'll go through that vinyasa on the other side. So inhale, lift the arms, heels lift, really reaching through the fingertips. And then the slow melt down as the heels drop and heart led as you eventually pour the head down. And then we'll begin to shift the weight into the right foot. Maybe left heel starts to lift as you slowly roll yourself up and make your way into one leg mountain. Pause here on an in breath. And then exhale, bend in the standing leg as you shift your weight and come into warrior three. Inhale, back to one leg mountain. And exhale the warrior three. Pause on an inhale. Exhale, slowly release the back toes down as you inhale, coming up into crescent lunge. And then exhale, rotating towards the right, arms open, almost like you're maybe holding something. You're holding polarizing emotions, and there's this centered groundedness that can help mediate in between. And we'll move with breath like we did on the other side. So inhale, maybe lengthening the front leg, and then exhale, rotating towards the right as you sink the hips. 3 more times with your breath. And seeing if you can let the whole breath get you to where you're going. So using the whole inhale to lift you up, and the whole exhale to lower you down. Good. Once more. And with this exhale, we'll hold and stay. And then coming into your version of exalted low lunge, maybe the arm goes long, maybe it goes behind the head, and allowing yourself to just be however you need to be. And then release the left hand on the inside of the right foot and take a twist. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale, release the right hand down, step back, downward facing dog. Taking a full round of breath here. Maybe sighing out the mouth. And then once more, bringing the hands back towards you. So this very deliberate and intentional movement of just walking the hands back towards you. In your option, you can stay in a forward fold, or you're welcome to turn the toes out and sink the hips down and come into that hip opener for a breath. And on your next exhale, we'll release the hands if you're in Malasana, and we'll meet in a forward fold. And then inhale, slowly lift yourself back up. And then we'll take that mindful walk to the top. Maybe you start to get a little bit playful, kind of move in a way that your body wants to move. Maybe you take one step forward and one step back. And then it doesn't have to look any specific kind of way. Just listen to the body and just notice what it's like to allow yourself this free expression, this artistic liberty of what is needed to go against any pattern that we might have in our yoga practice. Good. And once we meet at the top of the mat, we'll inhale, lift the arms up, heels lift, and then slowly let yourself melt down. Put the weight into the left foot. Inhale, rise up. one leg mountain. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, one leg mountain. And exhale, warrior three. Inhale here. And on an out breath, lower the back toes and inhale yourself up, crescent lunge. Inhale, find length in that front leg. Exhale, rotate open towards the left as you sink the hips down. 3 rounds here. Inhale here. And exhale. Finding your rhythm, your breath as you move between these two movements. And then when you meet, we'll meet in our twist and take exalted low lunge, whichever variation. Find opening in the front of the body. And then exhale, release the right hand down and take your low lunge twist, drawing shoulder blades together, opening up the chest. And then we will release the hand down, and this time we'll step the right foot up and inhale all the way up, heels lift, fingertips reach, and then exhale, lower yourself back down, forward fold. Put the weight into the right foot as we unfurl. Inhale, making our way to one leg mountain. And then exhale, warrior three. Inhale, one leg mountain. And warrior three. Pause for a breath. On your next exhale, slowly lower the back foot, coming into high lunge. And exhale, opening up towards the right. And once more, finding your rhythm, moving with your breath through these two movements. Noticing what's here. And then we will pause and hold. Inhale, revolved low lunge. And then exhale, release the left hand and come into your low lunge twist. Opening up the chest and see where you can soften. And then release the right hand down and then step back, downward facing dog. Gently lower the knees down to the ground, and if it feels comfortable, having a seat on the shins. And we'll just close out with a gentle twist. So taking a twist towards the right, maybe left hand plants on the outside of the thigh and the right hand plants behind. Finding some broadness in the collarbone. And just letting yourself rinse out. And then inhale back to center, and we'll exhale over towards the left, rolling the shoulders down and back, and be gently pulling the heart center forward, finding some length in the spine. And then coming back to center. Maybe closing the eyes down for one more beat. And just taking a moment to observe the effects of your practice. And just returning to that self-inquiry of being human. Let's go ahead and bring hands to heart center and seal our practice with thanks and gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope you enjoyed it and found some benefit of some of the inquiry and reflective questions, and of course, the movement. I look forward to practicing with you somewhere on your mat again soon. Ciao.